welcome back to day number 2 of baking. It was a very late night. It was past midnight when I pulled the cayenne pretzels out of the oven. Before I tell you what I'm doing right now, I just wanted to tell you makeup wise, because I know a lot of you are here on my channel because you love beauty. And I wanted to tell you what was on my lips yesterday and today. It's the Dalton lip stains. Yesterday I was wearing the Satin Rose shade. Today it's Satin Mocha, but I lined my lips with kind of more of a rusty red color. It's Honeysuckle from Tarte lip liner. So that's what's on my lips. And my nails, my Dashing Diva gloss strips have stayed on. This is Peppermint Marble. So we'll see how they do today, but just a little FYI in case you were curious. All right, now on to what is the order of today. I'm starting off by just quickly putting the peanut butter fudge in the packaging because fudge, I always worry about it drying out. I've had it loosely covered overnight, but I thought right now to get started, just to kind of get my brain woken up, I'm gonna just finish packaging these up. And the great thing about using these little cupcake liners is you see this little messy drizzle of fudge? You can just break that right off, it falls off, and then just put it straight into a goodie bag, and then I just add a tie. So I'm gonna finish this up, and then we have 3 more recipes today, along with washing the jars for the tea. I will check back in here when we're ready for our next recipe. The first thing I'm gonna do are spiced pecans, and I'm trying a new recipe. All right, I'll be right back. All right, we're moving on to candied pecans. And this recipe that I'm using, the oven temperature is a little higher at 300 degrees, so it bakes faster. So I'm intrigued about that. We're gonna see how that works. Also, this does have an egg white as the base, which is kind of the norm of what I'm used to, but this one does brown sugar, light brown sugar, and white sugar, and then a few less spices. So it just calls for cinnamon and nutmeg, like a dash of nutmeg. I'm gonna add a little bit of clove. It also adds vanilla. So a few differences, but I think the flavor should still be good, but I'm really interested to see if this bakes faster. So we're gonna get started. I do, of course, have these amazing pecans from Georgia. My brother sends me a package of these every year. They go in my freezer for the next year. So these are from Holland Farms. Love these. But then I also will add in some of the Fisher just because I don't have quite enough in just one package. So let's get started. We kind of do a couple of different kind of separate blends. So we're gonna start first with the egg whites. So I'm gonna do a triple batch to start. We'll see how much room we have on the pans and also how many nuts we have. So let's start with 3 batches and then we'll go. And again, as I did yesterday, I will include a screenshot, or I'll put up on the screen the actual full recipe so you can do a screenshot. And then I will also put it down in the description box. I really need to buy one of those egg white separators. I'm the worst at this. But I'm doing this first in case I get any shell in there, I can easily pull it out. Thankfully this time, I think we went without any shells. To the egg whites, we're gonna add 3 teaspoons of vanilla. Then we're gonna mix all of our dry ingredients, and I just realized I needed a bigger bowl. So a 1/3 cup of sugar and a 1/3 cup of light brown. So we're gonna triple that, so a full cup. And for this recipe, just because I have it on hand, I have this extra, this is the raw sugar. We're gonna go with this today. I don't know that it will have any different flavor, but why not, right? And then I wanted to show you this. Yesterday when I opened up a brand new package of light brown sugar, it was already starting to feel hard. So I had seen this trick where you put 1 large marshmallow. I didn't have large marshmallow. So I put in 7 of these little ones, and it is now soft, just overnight. Cinnamon is the star of the show with 2 teaspoons per batch. So I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons. And then it says less than 1/8 of a teaspoon for 1. So let's do 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'll just kind of do a heaping 1/8 of a teaspoon. And then I love cloves, so I'm gonna go ahead and put in, let's do a 3/4 teaspoon of clove. And finally, a little salt. Calls for a 1/2 teaspoon, so 1½ teaspoons. Now we'll mix it all together, combine everything with the nuts, and put them on our baking sheet to bake. The next thing, while the pecans are baking, we're moving on to what I like to call Mrs. Claus cookies, aka PMS cookies. They're super easy, but a couple of steps. So we need Ritz crackers. 1/2 we are putting peanut butter on. The other half we're doing marshmallow fluff. There you go, you know what marshmallow fluff looks like. And you want to put them in the fridge or the freezer for a little bit just to kind of help them kind of solidify a little bit. Then you dip them in chocolate. So I think this is going to work. I just lined this pan with parchment paper. I have to say, these already pre-cut cookie baking sheet parchment paper. Oh my word, so much easier than what I was messing with the nuts. Just FYI. So let's go ahead and get started. I will just kind of include a little bit of the steps. This is pretty easy. When we get to the dipping part, that's where it gets interesting. Now I have to say, the Ritz crackers that come in these kind of individual packages, this is the way I would recommend you buy them. Even though they're a little more expensive per cracker, you're gonna have a lot less broken crackers because Ritz crackers are so delicate. When I've bought them in the long stacks before, you end up wasting half of the crackers because they're broken. So just so you know. I think as I recall, it works best to kind of put a blob more towards the center of the cracker of a blob. That's an official baking term. A dollop, there we go, in the center. And then when you put the other side on, it squishes it down because you don't want too much kind of seeping out the edges because we do have to dip these. So at least that is my initial recollection from last year. We'll see if that proves to be true or not. I just pulled out of the freezer and I put in another tray. It's time to dip these. This year, I'm going to use just the bark, the chocolate bark or the almond bark in the chocolate. And then I'm gonna do one tray in the white. And then if I feel up to it, I'm gonna do a little drizzle to make them look extra fancy. Now, if you're doing a smaller batch and you want the best tasting chocolate on these, the Ghirardelli white and milk, these are my favorites. So, but since I'm doing a batch of 70, I thought we would go with the less expensive option. So that's what I'm gonna do. I never remember what tool works best to dig these out. So I'm gonna try a fork maybe, so that I can maybe tap off some of the excess chocolate. Let's see, that's pretty good. The chocolate are all done, and I had enough with just that one package of bark to do 35. Plus I have a little bit extra for drizzle. So before we get to the drizzle, we're gonna do the white chocolate ones. So I have this all melted and ready to go. I just pulled these out of the freezer. One thing that's super important when working with this bark or any candy coat, make sure your utensils are totally dry. Just a drop of water will totally ruin it. Right, Gracie? Isn't that right? Yes. Okay, the white is, well, we'll see how well it covers, but that is why I always like to have the backup plan of drizzling chocolate on top, because it can cover over a multitude of sins, if you know what I mean. Any mistakes or any misses with the chocolate, you can just put a little drizzle over the top of it and nobody will know. Ooh, sprinkles would be cute on these too. Ooh, maybe I'll have to do that next year. It is time to do a little drizzle. I'm just taking a sandwich bag. You can use a Ziploc, but I don't want to waste a Ziploc bag for just a small project like this. So I'm going to take the leftover white bark that we have and drizzle it on the chocolate cookies, and hopefully we have enough. If we don't, I can melt. I have some Ghirardelli melting wafers to do, but I'm hoping we can get by with just this. And then I just snip off the corner of this little baggie and go to town drizzling. Now I might have a little that gets over the edge, so just make sure you're aware that that can happen. I'm gonna do a smaller cut and hopefully that will help me do a finer drizzle. Good to do a little test on the side. Now they're gonna look like they came from some very fancy chocolate shop, right? This is the secret to making people think that you are so talented at baked goods. Just make them look really pretty and fancy. And you could, even after you drizzle, you could put some sprinkles on top after that if you wanted to be extra fancy. Okay, I had to heat the chocolate one up again because it had totally hardened. So, but hopefully we're gonna have the same amount left, and we'll do this now on the white cookies. There we go, all done. Now we're just gonna let these cool. I'm gonna get to work on the Chex Mix, and then we'll be ready for packaging. Hallelujah. Drum roll, please. This is the final recipe, and it is the Chex Mix. So we are starting off measuring out the cereal. And once again, I'm gonna do 2 batches, but I'm gonna do them separately because I think, well, for one, I don't have a bigger bowl than this that will fit in my microwave. So that is the constraints that you have to keep in mind. Whatever you're putting your Chex Mix in, it has to be in a bowl that can be microwavable. So next we're going to put in a separate bowl several ingredients. We're gonna microwave them, then put them on the Chex Mix, and then begin. Okay. Once the butter has been melted fully and it's smooth, then you add the baking soda to it, a 1/4 teaspoon, and then we will cover the Chex Mix. It will be in and out of the microwave a couple of times. It'll start to get bubbly. Then it's done, and we move on to the next steps. Coated, so we're going to spread it out on my prepared pans, and then I will do the second batch, and then we'll do all the toppings. We're in the home stretch now. It's time to drizzle caramel, milk chocolate, and white chocolate, and add a few marshmallows to our cooled Chex Mix. So I'm gonna do it 1 sheet at a time, but I'm gonna go ahead and mix up all the caramels, melt all of the chocolate, drizzle it all at once. So here we go. done. Now it just has to cool. And when you see me next, we're gonna be wrapping all of this stuff up. Today is packaging day. All of those things need to become these things. Creative here. These cookies were very soft and they're a little tacky on the bottom. So I'm taking these cupcake holders, folding them flat, and putting one cookie in each one. Gracie wants one. No, you can't have one. No, I'm sorry. And then placing them in these Ziploc bags like this. And this is what we end up with. We are at the final stage of the whole treat goodie baking process, and that is delivery. So I have my cute little elf here. Are you ready to go make some deliveries, huh? Are you excited? We're gonna go see some friends. Yes. I think I've decided that next year we need to get her like a cute little red jacket with white fur on the fringe. Wouldn't that be adorable? But we are heading out. Thank you so much for coming along for these 2 days of baking. I hope you enjoyed it. As I mentioned earlier, there will be recipes in the description box down below in case you did not get the screenshots on the screen as the video is going along. So don't forget to tune in tomorrow for one final day of Christmas. And also don't forget to enter the giveaway that I mentioned earlier this week. If you missed that video, I will link it on the screen here, and we'll see you tomorrow.